I'm the Music God. This is the Noize Report. You know what we do here. We laugh, we have fun, and we interview cool and interesting people, or pretty much anyone I can con into coming on this shit show that I call a podcast. So tonight, over here, you're going to see this gentleman and possibly one of his bandmates if he appears.
Tardy.
If he appears, and if not, we're going to do it this way, but you'll probably see the other one. But I will let him introduce himself, who he is, where he's from, and all that good mumbo jumbo, and we'll go from there. How are you today?
Just fine, man. This is Bishop Booker from the band Empires coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. What's up, folks?
I actually lived just outside of Dallas for a while, so I'm familiar with. Yeah, I lived right off the corner of 6th and MacArthur in Irving, Texas. So,
ooh, I know exactly where that is.
Yep. Used to be Oak Tree Apartments. We were managed with them, and now it is called. I believe it's. I just looked it up. It's San Miguel Apartments now. Yes, it used to be Oak Tree, right across from the Kroger, kind of kitty corner across from the Kroger.
I know exactly where that is. I used to live in Las Colinas and Valley Ranch area, so I used to drive over there.
Yeah, we were actually apartment managers there for about a year and a half, and I liked it down there. It was cool. Got a hellacious scar on my back from it, because Michigan, me being from the north, not knowing about the sun, decided on the second day there that I was going to sit my ass in the pool for 6 hours, and the sun gleaming off the pool water onto my back basically burned my skin right down to the muscle. So I've got like this scar about the size of a quarter in the middle of my shoulder blades that are pretty much like.
Guess what, man? Hold up. I hate to interrupt you, but it looks like we got a tardy boy here just showed up. Darren,
what's
say
up?
Hello to the people.
Very cool. Got it.
Hey,
dude.
How's everything?
It's good, man. Sorry if you had a problem with the link. It's always kind of.
I don't know if it expired or something, but it's all good, man.
No, it's Zoom is just weird. I think it's just one of them things. I have problems sometimes myself. Like I'll make these things for people and then they'll disappear and I'll have to make it again. And then the first one will show back up and it's
right.
Zoom's such a crapshoot. So anyway, Dallas, Texas based. These guys are they've got some songs. Do you guys have like a record or an EP to go with it, or is it just single so far?
All
just singles so far. All singles.
Just singles.
Badass singles.
Yes. I have to say this, and I'll start with I'll lead with this. I am an aficionado, let's say, of cover songs. I have tens of thousands of them saved. Everything from Disturbed to, I just every imaginable cover song that's ever been recorded, I probably have a copy of it.
Sweet.
And, I will say that this is definitely your new single is definitely one of the best that I've heard. And I am highly impressed with it because I don't think I've heard anyone else actually cover this particular song by this band. So
thank you so much, man. That means like the world to us to hear that. We worked so hard on this thing. You wouldn't believe the path that we had to take to do this. It leads Los Angeles, California a couple of times and a video production. And we really put so much work into this. I mean, I can't say enough about how much work Bishop and Eddie Wall put into it. Eddie Wall, the producer, who this was a dream come true for me to work with this guy, or for us to work with him. And I didn't know he would even have time to work with us, and he did. And then, he and Bishop got in the studio, and man, Eddie worked it, and Bishop was there for every bit of it. No matter what Eddie asked of him, Bishop just stuck with it and was, saying hours and hours each day. And I mean,
we sang every line. I sang
yeah,
every line about 40 times. Maybe more than that. And then we went. But the thing about it was working with Eddie was different because he pulled me into the situation way more than anybody else did. Like he sat me down and said, "Hey, look, let's listen to all these versions that you did and pick the best part of that particular part that you did, whichever one the best one was.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and listen to it that way, and you're going to record it that way." So we went back and did it the way he wanted it done, but he pulled out the best performance I possibly could. But we honestly, this one to me felt easier because as soon as Darren said, "Hey man, maybe we should play around with a police song," and the first thing that came out of my mouth was the lyrics of this song. I started singing it.
Yeah, like
And natural.
Yeah, like I've heard police covers, but I've never actually heard this one. And for those of you wondering, it's the song "Wrapped Around My Finger," which is obviously off Synchronicity.
40-year anniversary.
Yes, such a great record, and I think, I've heard probably 100 versions of "Every Breath You Take" and a few others, but I don't recall ever hearing anyone do this particular song. And it's kind of an obvious choice, really, when, like, to me, there are certain songs from that era that maybe they have memories attached, or maybe they're iconic in a way that you sort of remember exactly where you were when they come out, or when they sort of hit radio or whatever. And I remember this particular song, this record, because it came out right around the same time as Elton John released. I guess that's why they call it the blues. And it was,
that's right.
Those two records we had in the basement. We would go downstairs and we would weightlift in the basement. And those are the two records that just seemed for months to be the two records that we listened to. Why those two particular ones, I really couldn't tell you, but they just kind of stuck with us, and partly I think they were a happy medium because I was a big rock fan and my cousin was sort of a Rick D's top 40 type. It was kind of a happy medium, I guess, between what I liked and what he liked. To where, like, I didn't want to listen to Madonna, but he didn't want to listen to like Motley Crue or Quiet Riot. So they were kind of, there was
enough far from each other.
Yeah, like, there was enough rock in there to keep me happy, but it was poppy enough to keep him happy. So I think maybe that's why I remember it so fondly, is because,
for me, I think it broke the rules. You got the reggae vibe in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the British musicians, they really kind of floated to the soulfulness of that, or the island sound. And the way we've messed with it, we kind of gave it a little more oomph to it. It's still the same BPMs. Am I right, Darren?
It is. What we did was just kind of the way we reimagined the song was we thought about halfway through the song, it kicked into full time, straight 4/4 beat, a lot more rock, and so we basically just took the whole song and reimagined it at that BPM, or with that time signature, I should say. But we have it's in the same key as the original song. we kind of decided to
Just rock
copy,
the hell out of it.
copied some of the instrumentation from the original and did it with like harmony guitars, stuff like that, to kind of give it more of a rock band feel. Like, we're like a modern rock metal band.
We also wanted to make sure we gave it respect.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point Bishop brings up there, because that was a discussion we had many times. We were like, who are we touching this song? I mean, what are we doing? It's like, are we, like, what kind of, who thinks it's okay just to go out there and take this mega iconic hit song that's been around for decades, that's like the tree that grew there, it's like a mountain that's always been there or something, it's like a totally fucking epic song, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna touch something like that,
Yeah.
you don't screw it up or do something that people are going to listen to it and go, what are you even doing? But our label said, why don't you guys come up with a cover at some point? And they asked us for this for a long time, like a year or something. We came up with several cover ideas, and some of them were very obvious choices. I won't name the titles of the songs because some of them we're still considering what we might do. But it was a Metallica song. One of them was a Weekend song, The Weeknd, that guy, that artist, and one of them was L song that we kind of took and made more into like a Metallica sounding song or something.
That Adele song is a complete rewrite.
And as well, we worked through them, and the label heard that, and then they sent it to a couple of producers, and that's how that song was really chosen. They were like, you guys doing this song and this producer who's excited about it. A lot of times producers are chosen because they have ideas do with it. And this producer was like, I know exactly what to do with this. And he was like, I know exactly what to do with it. I love this song. We can really do something cool with this. And he had his ideas, and everything he told us made sense, and it came out in the recording. But to Bishop's point, back to Bishop's point, it was, don't take any liberties with a song that you can't do something really cool with. If you can't bring it up a notch or do something with it, or really, do something that that won't make you look foolish trying to cover a song you really can't do anything with. Those were all, and we, there were different things brought up, like, what if we added this to the song? And we're like, that's too far away from the original version, so we don't want to just, take it completely out of the ballpark of what it is. And there were also, there was brought up, like, what if there's a guitar solo? And I really feel like there's no room in that song for a guitar solo, because ultimately it does not have a guitar solo. So we kind of stuck with and just tried to pay homage in a way to it also, because that song's going to be around forever. If anybody ever likes our version of it or pays any attention to us for doing it at all, that would just be a total blessing on a million. And man, doing music like this it's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to do something like this. And with the people that were, man, that I love the guys in this band, dude. They're all super good guys. They're like family. And we do pretty much everything on the same page, and we all played the song together, and we thought about it, and we were like, we're not too bad at doing this. Maybe we should go down this path. And started,
honestly, to be honest with you, Kate, to cut you off, the real reason why we truly recorded this one, because we played it live and they went nuts.
Yeah.
They went nuts. The crowd went. We were not expecting that kind of response. We're like, we're gonna play with this, see what happens. It's because it doesn't sound like the original. We're gonna see what happens. And they were like, "You got to record this song." Every person we talked to after we got off stage didn't ask them about it. That was the one thing they were talking about all night long. And we got bombarded for like 2-3 months. But people just said, "You got to record that song." It's like, okay, fine, screw it. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah, we've got a couple like that. The Adele thing we do, and the Metallica we do. It's like we've kind of just put a little bit of our own spin on it to, like, give them a little more energy, I think. They just work. It's like you're doing something really familiar for people. And I think if people hear you do something that they like and you do it well, they kind of make up their mind that you're going to be good at other things.
We hope so, anyway.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cover songs are funny in the sense that there's kind of three distinct things for me about them. You can, depending on the song, you can stay true to the original because the song is so iconic and you don't really want to mess with how iconic it is.
The integrity of this.
Yeah. There are those songs that you can have fun with because they're fun songs. And there are those songs that people have messed with and just completely gone off the rails.
Taylor Swift, September.
Do what?
Nothing. You didn't hear me get in trouble for that.
No. So like the fun song thing. I don't know if you've heard. There's a band out of San Diego called the Dirty Heads.
Yes.
And they just did a Life's Been Good, and they made it into this really fun sort of reggae rock. It keeps Joe's guitar riff, but they put this sort of reggae spin on it. And one's in the water and one's sitting kind of on a mountain, and they're going back and forth. And it's got the little rap sections, but it's got the whole. It's still got the vibe of the original, but it puts a sort of sublime almost spin on it.
Yeah.
And
my God,
it's so good. Now, on the other hand, Disturbed did so well with Sound of Silence that Nevermore decided they had to do a death metal version of Sound of Silence. And they just went 186 beats through the whole song for the Sound of Silence. And it's just like, the fuck were you thinking that song into a blast beat death metal song? And I like Nevermore. I mean, I no disrespect to Nevermore. I like their music.
Me too.
When I heard that version, I was just like, no, it doesn't work. Like he's just, he's just doing the death metal vocals. And it's like, no, it doesn't work at all in any sense. It's painful to listen to.
Yeah.
And
I haven't heard it.
Well, I'm glad you like ours.
Cool. We're talking about it.
Yeah, and
so maybe that would use to get some traction out of doing it,
There are those cover songs that take on a life of their own and become bigger for the artist that covers them than the original. Such as I Love Rock and Roll, which, I think everybody knows the Arrows recorded it, but if you go to any normal person and say, who sings I Love Rock and Roll, they're not going to say the Arrows. They're going to say Joan Jett.
Yeah.
Great White, when they sing Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Yes, it's an Ian Hunter song. Everyone knows Ian Hunter recorded that. But, ask anybody who sings Once Bitten, Twice Shy, and they're going to tell you, oh, Great White.
Great White, yeah.
So there's those instances where they kind of, they take on their own thing and they become bigger, I think, than maybe the original artist, which I guess is cool, but I don't know, like, it is what it is. But I guess my point is, depending on the song, you have to decide from the beginning. Are you going to be reverent to it? Are you going to have fun with it? Or are you just going to completely throw the rules out, do your own thing, and sort of be like Rick Rubin and say, hey, rules don't apply here. We're going to create something completely original and new. Johnny Cash, Rick Rubin, speaking of Rubin, Johnny Cash doing Hurt.
Yeah.
It is a perfect example of just completely throwing the rules out and going in a direction that probably nobody expected. You know, even
Nope.
Trent has said that when he first heard the song, he didn't know what to think about it because he felt like Johnny kind of got inside his head. And Johnny didn't like it at first because Johnny thought it was abrasive and rude when he heard the original version, and he didn't want to do it. And then Rick pushed him to do it, and we got this really iconic cover song of Johnny singing a song that, you know,
And pretty much his last hurrah too. On top of that,
Yeah.
one of the best things he ever did. And it was the last thing he did.
and again, I would almost say Johnny's version is maybe better than Trent's because it really does have that deeply personal vibe to it.
It
where
touches
Trent
your
was-
soul when you hear that, and that's what we want to do with something
Yeah.
like this. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the response is like, a lot of people didn't understand what he was talking about. When you're talking about Charybdis and Scylla and Mephistopheles and stuff like that, and the Greek mythology that's in this song, but he's talking about. I didn't get that when I first heard the song. He's talking about a relationship. He's talking about singing one of his exes, and she's married, and the ring around her finger and stuff like that, and how much she controlled him, and how much power she had over him. But in the end, because he could push past all of that and see the error of what she was and what they perceived each other to be, he became the master of everything that was going on around him, and so he stepped away from it. I didn't get that when I first heard it, and for some people. A different version of that can bring out the truth in the song. And I love that about I hope we did that with this.
Well, I will say this just really
Sorry.
quick. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
If you consider it, and maybe it's not your thing or your style, but listening to this particular version, I couldn't help but think that the solo song by Sting called Fortress Around My Heart would be a song that would just be absolutely perfect for you guys. 'Cause that's like my favorite Sting song, and I kept thinking in my head as I was listening to this one, I was like, man, I could totally hear Fortress Around My Heart in this style.
If I built this fortress around your heart. Yeah.
Yep.
The harmonies on that is sick, and all the trumpets going off in the background and everything. It's a crazy song. That's an interesting choice. I like that song. That's a great song.
Another one, people never consider the song. Nobody's ever covered it in a rock style. Not even sure you could even get clearance to do it. But this gentleman right here has a song called Thieves in the Temple.
Prince? I'm a massive Prince fan.
Dude, Thieves in the Temple just bags.
Graffiti Bridge soundtrack.
For a fucking band to take it and just turn it on its head. That bass line in that song.
Oh my God. There's solos all through it and everything. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Love come quick. Love come in a hurry.
There's thieves.
Yeah.
It's just that whole song, dude. I'm just like, I've always wanted to do a cover of it myself, but I don't sing worth a shit. I mean, like, I can scream, I can bellow like an idiot, but I'm not a singer.
We'll have to try. We've tried a lot of stuff.
It's just,
a lot of stuff.
So talk about some of the other songs you guys have, because you guys have a bunch of cool videos. I love your videos because they have this sort of synthwave, sort of future noir type of aspect to them, and
cyberpunk.
That's the term I'm looking for. I couldn't think of the term for it, but I'm a massive fan of synthwave and cyberpunk, and Cell Dweller is like one of my favorite artists.
What?
So, as I was watching these videos, I just kept thinking to myself, musically, it's nowhere near what Clayton and Cell Dweller does, but the video aspect, I just kept thinking, that's totally something that Clayton would create for one of his songs. Like, it's just, whether it's a Scandroid project or whether it's Cell Dweller or Tokyo Love Destroy is the other one that he has. And, it's totally that cyberpunk aesthetic. And I love them. the videos are so cool. So
you want to talk about love or hate or through the flames? Pardon me for
any of
yelling
them,
at
whatever ones you guys want to talk about, just you know.
So those videos are done by the same agent, and they do a bunch of stuff for feature films.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we found them. Like, wow, who did this? And so we got a little relationship going with them, and they were like, what do you want? And we were like, we want it to be um, Blade Runner and Star Wars and The
Yeah,
Matrix kind of together, and everything kind of, very futuristic because there's no timestamp on the future.
right.
You can't look at something and go, oh, that's so 2023 or 2022 because
Yeah.
it's all future. So it kind of never gets old if it's all done, you know, uh, wherever in space.
you.
So that was pretty cool. Everybody just liked the idea, and then no matter what the idea is, it still has to look cool. So we got some stuff back from them, and we think it's a good way to tell a story because it keeps you engaged.
Yeah, it does. Like and like I said, the songs are really great, and the video, the aspect of the video with them,
Thank you so much.
you know,
That really
like,
means a lot, that from somebody who, especially somebody who pays as much attention to music as you do.
Yeah.
That means the world to us. Like when we get done with this, Bishop and myself will be talking about how cool it was to talk to you and how much it meant to us that you liked the music because it's really true, man. That these
yeah,
these
like
songs are kids or something, and you want people to love them as you do. So when somebody connects with, it's a wonderful feat. So thank you very much for that, man. I really appreciate it,
music is, the amazing thing about music that
brother.
that has always been so important to me. Um, I sort of compare music to food. When people ask me why I listen to so much music, why I have such eclectic taste, why I listen to so much different stuff, and I always tell them like, look, tacos are amazing, but I don't want to eat them 7 days a week
Yeah,
for every meal.
great.
So there are days where I want to hear AC/DC. There are days I want to hear Prince. There are days I want to hear Blue October. Who, you know, I want to hear Pink Floyd. I want to hear Charlie Daniels. I want to hear just whatever. But there's music there's something for every mood, for every occasion, for every and memories are attached to that.
I was gonna say something for every vibe. For
Yeah.
every station, there's music that seems like it fits it.
Yeah.
You're in that mode that day, and you're like, I need to put this on because we're in whatever mode.
And I grew up in a generation, I think all of us did, where music was a part of everything. We sat down to watch a movie, whether it was Top Gun, whether it was Iron Eagle, whether it was a Breakfast Club, whether it was St. Elmo's Fire, whether it was Pretty in Pink, Less Than Zero, movie after movie. The music was as important as the actual movie themselves for that. You can remember where you were the first time you heard Purple Rain. You can remember where you were the first time you heard I Love Rock and Roll or The Heart of Rock and Roll by Huey Lewis.
And that's what I'm loving about the fact that Stranger Things is doing that again.
Yes.
Soundtracks like the Spider-Man soundtrack from Across the Spider-Verse, the Black Panther soundtrack, those were iconic movies that, like Top Gun, like you said, you remember, what do you think of when you think of Top Gun? You think of Tom Cruise, you think of jets, and you think of Kenny Loggins.
Yeah. And
right up the top. You think of Huey Lewis. You think of Huey Lewis in the news when you think of Back to the Future. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Those are the vibes that you get, and
Absolutely.
And that's when we write, I visualize not just a story, but like it's a movie. It's a mini movie. It might be 3 minutes and 50 seconds long or whatever. Right. But whatever the thought process, like Stronger, it's not just the physicality of strength. It's also personal perseverance of strength, being able to handle whatever life comes at you. And all the images of my life and the strives that I've seen other people go through and them come through in the end, that's what that song's about. And so we visualize those things. And I think of songs to me are soundtracks. They're the soundtrack to everyone's life. If you're not reaching someone with what you're saying on those lyrics, you're not making a soundtrack for them to live their life with. And that's what music is to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think even without lyrics, if you have a great melody, if you have a great story, Eric Johnson, Cliffs of Dover, there's no words to it, but you feel that song. Satriani, with Surfing with the Alien, is another song where even without the lyrics, you feel it, because it's
hang out, my friend.
Yeah, man. You sit by a campfire and let the music play, just chop it up.
That's great. That's it, man.
So where do people find you guys social media wise? The songs themselves, I guess if they want to buy them, download them, stream them, whatever, are there particular places, or it's just like the main big five streaming places?
Yeah, we're on every streaming service. So Empiires with 2 eyes. It's very important, 2 eyes.
And I gotta commend you on that too. That logo with the 2 eyes making the tower, that's fucking brilliant. Like when I seen it, I was like, I like that. That's the cool ass logo. Like
Darren. There you go. Yeah, no, and you can find appreciate that. Thank you. It's all our social media is Empiires 2 eyes official on Instagram. It's just Empiires on Facebook. So we got all of that, and then you can obviously go to any music streaming service, and our music videos are all on YouTube. From In This Moment, Love or Hate, Stronger, Through the Flames, and of course Wrapped Around Your Finger. Every last one. And Wrapped Around Your Finger, we're especially proud because we actually get to be in this video. Nobody wanted to see our faces till now.
How could they not want to see your beautiful faces?
Oh man. See the milk dog coming in here, man. It's
I had short hair for my entire marriage, and then I went through a horrific divorce. My wife hated my hair long. My ex-wife hated my hair long, and as soon as she had the affair and ran off, I'm like, fuck it, I'm growing my hair. And now it's like, I've got like more hair than. And my mom all the time, she's like, you look like Ragnar from Vikings. And I was like, well,
yes,
I'm Norwegian and Irish, so I should look like Ragnar, and she's like, I don't mean that in a complimentary way. And I was like, okay. And she's like, you need to cut your hair. And I was like, yeah, I need to get a job too. But last time I had a job, it tried to fucking kill me and take my fucking head off. So now I've got this cool ass scar running up the middle of my forehead because
now you look like a true Viking battle proven, man.
Fucking half-inch steel chain snapped on a semi and hit me in the forehead. It took like 86 stitches to close the wound. And
Jesus, Lord have mercy, man.
Yeah, like it was a freak accident, but people's like, well, you need to get a job. And I had a job and it tried to kill me. So, now I can't work because I have frontal brain damage from fucking this steel chain trying to take my head off. So
well, it didn't mess up your musical taste and your knowledge of music, man. You are an encyclopedia.
Oh man, I don't know about all that, but like I said, I love music, dude, and it's just I've been obsessed with it since I was a kid, and I attribute that to, like I said at the beginning, of all of the amazing people that have given me music and given me records and let me sit in front of their stereos for hours at a time, listening to everything under the sun, and my grandfather, I was known as a kid, I always had the Discman or the Walkman with me, and I had a backpack that I carried around full of cassettes. And my grandfather, to this day, 96 years old, I'm 52, and when I go to his house, he's like, where's your life support system? He's always seen me with headphones on because I always have music. And where's your life support system if I don't have headphones on? And I was like, what do you mean my life support system? He's like, you don't have your goddamn headphones on. And I was like, oh, you know, fucking 50
Well,
years old. I can't wear them all the time. So
it gets us through a lot of things.
yeah.
Everybody's just a fan, you know, and we're mega fans of music. I mean,
Yeah.
Bishop's, you know, the guy's a fucking audiophile, man. I mean, he's jamming something. We're always like trying to like show each other some new stuff too. I mean, where it's like, I show him stuff that he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Where did you find that? You know, what are you doing listening to that? Because really, we're not, you know, we're not always listening to metal.
Yeah.
You know,
He listens to Taylor Swift. Don't let him get it twisted, bro. He likes Taylor Swift.
You know what? I'm okay with that because
if it's good. I mean, it could be the 14-year-old kid on the piano. It can be the guy in Japan on the thing. You know, it's like, dude, whatever it is, Lady Gaga, man. There's like this total artist.
Yeah.
So I just like something that's unique and has talent. And if it's got that, I'm in. I just want to check it out. You know, I want to see something that somebody's doing that's got some substance to it. It's got to be real. You know, it's got to have something. But you can always get that vibe. You know, when you're listening to something, you're like, holy shit, these guys are for real. This is really what they do.
Yeah. I live by this right here. I found this in a store. And it says music is not to hear, it's to feel. And you know, that's why I keep that behind me, because it's just, that's what music is to me. Like, if you don't feel the music, you can hear the music everywhere, but if you don't feel it, you're just missing the point of what it is. And it doesn't matter what kind it is, because, you know, there's, like I said before, there's something for everybody, you know, whether it's Shaggy doing reggae, whether it's Bob Marley, whether it's whatever it is, whether you're happy, you're sad, you're angry, and you want to break shit, whether you just want to chill and relax. There's literally something, and it's okay to like it all. Like, it's okay, you know, like there's stuff that I don't like because I don't relate to it. I get the biggest shit because I'm from Detroit. I am not an Eminem fan.
Blasphemy.
I'm telling you, I don't relate to anything M says. Like, his lyrics just are gibberish to me. But on the other hand, KSR1, Chino XL, those are the guys that I relate to, because those guys are lyrical on a level that is just insane to me. And
intellectual wordplay.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing. Like, I don't like M, but I'm a massive fan of Royce da 5'9". And people are like, well, how could you like Royce and not like M? Because Royce is saying something, and M is just
the way he tells the story, you know.
Yeah, you know, and every song by M that I actually like has Royce on it.
That's so funny.
Because, you know, M knows that when you're face to face with Royce on a song, you just can't spit gibberish bullshit. Like, you gotta really say something. And, you know, people, M's the greatest of all time. M's not even the greatest in Detroit, dude. Well, what? You're crazy. And I'm like, dude, come to Detroit. I will show you Detroit hip hop that will, you know, believe me, I will introduce you to artists that will blow M out of the water. So
next time we come back, we might have to hit you up, man.
That's fine. So we've already covered the social medias, right? I just completely.
Oh, that's okay. We're having a good time. Yeah, we talked about Empires on Instagram, Facebook, all of that good stuff. You know, definitely go check us out for those who are listening. And then, of course, like I said before, the music videos are on YouTube, and you can get everything on anything from Apple Play to Google Music to just everything. I mean, every music streaming service has us on it. There's plenty of playlists on Spotify too that have us on there now. The numbers have been crazy. The reception for the song for Wrapped Around Your Finger has been very appreciative of the outpouring of positive vibes we've been getting from this, for sure.
Awesome. So lastly, I guess I will ask, live shows. Where are you get let my brain catch up with my mouth. you guys have upcoming live shows that people could come out to and check out, and maybe where are some of them that are coming up and that kind of thing?
Darren, you got this.
So we just update social media weekly with shows.
Okay.
So catch a show if you want to catch us somewhere in North Texas. Usually, you can just check out our Instagram, Facebook, and those are going to be updated. I think we're bands in town, maybe a couple of other things out there, but really, I think most people, when they're looking for your band, they're going to go check out Instagram, probably.
Hey, who we playing with at Trees, though, in Dallas? We got a pretty cool one. Old school rock band. Oh, you know Trees?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Who
Only been there once, but I do know of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a show coming up at Trees, various stuff around Dallas mostly. And we talked about a couple of tours this year. They didn't really make sense for us just because really it was just not something that was going to work for us on the finance side of it, just because it wasn't going to make enough money. It was like, we're just going to finance being there. And we were like, we can stay, we can do a world tour of Texas and make more money than going to Europe or going all over America, those were like, we had the 2 tours offered to us. One of them was like 41 days in Europe and one was like 40 days in America. But it really just didn't make any sense. It was really just going to finance us being there. So
I would have been homeless afterwards if we went on one of those.
Dude,
well, we're just kind of the right opportunity. It's it's got sense for everybody in the band, and we really don't do anything unless it makes sense for everyone in the band. We don't outvote people into something or shit like that. It's a band of brothers in a lot of ways. Everybody it's about how much you love and respect each other and everybody's responsibility. Everybody's got bills to pay and stuff like that. But
is that Matt?
Shows
hold up. Hey, Darren,
Darren.
We have somebody coming to the mix. Sorry to interrupt you. Matt Jean, the bass player of Empiires. Look at you, you rock star.
What's up, guys?
Hey, coming in right at the end. But no, that makes sense because I would tell the story.
I like to be right on time.
Yeah. 1991, I was in a band called Psychotic Therapy. And I make the joke that we were metalcore before metalcore existed. We played this style of music that wasn't quite death metal, but it was way heavier than anything else that was out there. And we opened up for every major death metal band around at that time, whether it was Malevolent Creation or Deicide, Atheist. We played with all of those guys.
Wow.
Atlantic Records came along and said, we're going to give you a contract, but before we do, we want to see what you're like on the road. Sent us on a tour, 14 days, opening for Pantera. It was 6 months before Pantera was to release Cowboys from Hell.
Wow.
So it was Pantera, Crowbar, and us.
Nice.
11 days into the tour, 2:00 in the morning in Minden, Louisiana, we pulled over on the side of the road and we were standing in a circle and we decided we were going home or we were going to prison because 5 guys in a passenger van making enough money to share a Happy Meal at the end of the night. It was 100 degrees. We couldn't sleep. Where's the drugs? Where's the bitches? Where's the party? Where's all of this rock star shit that the label was sprouting to us?
No, it's nothing like that, brother.
And we were like, okay, you know what? Back here where I live currently, we were playing weekend shows, making $300 to $700 for the weekend. I'm like, wait, I can make more money and sleep in my own bed at night than I can being out doing this shit. And this sucks. Okay, like you're sleeping in a van, asshole to asshole, with 5 other guys. It's 100 degrees. You made $13 for the night if you're lucky. So that's enough to maybe share a couple of Happy Meals between 5 people.
Not anymore.
Yeah, and it's just like we were just like, no, we were so miserable. that we stood there at 2 a.m. and we were ready to fight amongst ourselves. Like we were literally going to fist fight. And we're like, okay, look, we either need to go home or we're going to all go to prison because we're going to kill each other before this shit is over.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, we drove home. We just like, fuck it, we're done. And we come back home and we started making money again. And, you know, it was all good for a long time. But
paying dues, man, paying dues.
Yeah. And then Atlantic called us back and we were like, yeah, not interested. Just keep your contract because not even worth what we're going to have to go to.
You got to be able to at least eat.
Yeah. You know. And I look back on it now and I'm so happy that we didn't do it because we would have been in that same group along with like Wrathchild America and the bands like that Atlantic just buried.
Yeah.
So we would have ended up owing Atlantic shit tons of money and probably never would have sold.
Not to say any names, but we watched Dallas. I'm going to tell you right now, Dallas at one point had an amazing scene. I mean, just a ridiculous scene.
Yeah.
There, I could say there was about a good 20 bands that I would put up against any band in the nation and tell you that the singer was amazing. What was that?
Pump Jack.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, dude, but these labels came in, scooped them all up, and then buried every last one of them.
Yep. Because they didn't want competition for Drowning Pool or Pantera.
That was crazy to me.
Yep.
It was a whole different scene. They were writing music that was different from everything. You know, the thing about it is, though, the resurgence right now that we're witnessing, there's some other bands that are coming up. We're trying to do our things with everybody. You know, the brotherhood that used to exist back in the early 2000s with the rock scene and stuff like that. Because we used to play with like Drowning Pool and stuff like that back in the day when I was in another band. And that's how we all know each other, as a matter of fact. Darren being in the bands that he was in, Matt, the same thing. That brotherhood and camaraderie of taking care of each other and pulling each other up and working with each other to do shows and get those good crowds in. It's war. You know what I'm saying? This is war, and you are nothing without the community. And I'm appreciating people like you who are reaching out to people like us who are making our moves so we can get out there and get the word be heard. You know, we're here to do what we do, and hopefully you like what we got going on, man. And CJ, we appreciate you, brother, for sure, man. Thank you for having us on here.
Well, I will say, if you do happen to get up Michigan way, I would love to see you guys play. And there are tons of places up here, be it the Music Factory in Battle Creek, or be it the Token down in Westland, or the Machine Shop in Flint. If you can get past Kevin's Gatekeepers. Kevin's a super cool guy. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh, yeah, of course, but they've got the walls up. Everybody
Yeah,
does.
like, you know, it's the Machine Shop.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about the Machine Shop. So you don't just
not
call
walking
Kevin directly and be like, hey, I want to play the Machine Shop. You got to work through the levels of getting there. But once you're there, then you're kind of like mafioso. You're kind of like a made man because you'll play over and over. So
Darren, you were in construction. You also run construction. You got some connections. Make something happen. Make it off the camera fuse, okay?
You know?
Forget about it.
As Rodney Dangerfield said,
right.
Back to school. I don't know if you know who runs that racket, but let me assure you, it's not the Boy Scouts. All right, this is Empiires, Dallas, Texas. Amazing songs out right now that are all over the place, YouTube, streaming services, and all that. It's Empiires with 2 eyes. So look them up. Let them know you've seen them on the Noize Report. And with that said, we're going to wrap this bad boy up. As always, you know how we end it. Be well. Treat each other with kindness. Remember, no matter what you're going through in life, music heals.
Amen, brother.